Hi, Gabrielle. This is Ellen, and I'm going to be correcting your essay. I know that your email was addressed to Daphne. I understand that she corrected your previous essay, but I just wanted to address some of the questions you asked in your email. It's fine to say "I believe" when you're giving your opinion. No problems about that at all. And while I didn't read your previous essay, I know you were concerned about the length. You said that your corrected essay was like 360 something words. That's fine. There is no word maximum in IELTS, provided that you can complete the letter in the essay in about 40 minutes or so. So that's that shouldn't be an issue. What I will do is, because I know you mentioned something about your topic sentence and how it didn't really segue nicely into your example, let's look at this particular essay and see if you've had this issue with this essay as well. Okay, so let's take a look at this. This is about longer working time. Okay, so experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated whether long working hours are directly related to a nation's economic prosperity. Although long labor hours could have some negative effect on the economy, I believe that technology could have more benefits in the long term for the economy. Okay, therefore I agree with the statement. This essay will argue both issues by using examples from the UK government and Oxford University to demonstrate points, prove arguments. Okay, so it's lovely. There weren't any grammatical mistakes here at all. Nice language, good. But there are a couple of things that I would say here. First of all, I felt like I saw the word economy a little too much. Obviously, it's about, being economically successful. I understand that. But there were a couple of places where I thought you could have avoided using the word. So here, look at this. You wrote some negative effect on the economy and long term for the economy. You could have just gotten rid of that. Okay? So it could have read something like, although long labor hours could have some negative effect on the economy, I believe that technology could have more benefits in the long term. Full stop. Okay? Now, the other question is where does technology fit in with this? So this link here isn't entirely clear. Okay? I assume that we'll understand it as we progress, but it is a little unclear how technology is related to longer working hours. So you probably should have clarified this a little better. Okay? And then you also don't really need this sentence here. I agree with the statement, because that's what the structure of this sentence does. So you have this concession clause with the although, but then you tell us what you believe. So we don't really need this sentence. You could have gotten rid of that. All right? So let's move on. On the one hand, there is ample evidence that long working hours are beneficial for the economic growth of nations. The central reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, the countries are having more access to technology, like production machines for food and technology, which reduces the working hours of employees and saves costs. For example, selecting, packing, and labeling of pasta products can be done by machines instead of manual. This saves employers time and wages, which is cost effective. Secondly, those countries have more access to scientific research that could innovate technologies such as computers and smartphones, which help to increase performance in communication globally. For example, recent empirical research by the UK government demonstrated that 90% of their economic success is based on the export to the USA and Europe. For this reason, excellent communication devices are crucial for trade communication. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that access to technology is beneficial for the economic development and success. Okay, I wanted to read through this entire paragraph just to make sure I understood what you were trying to say. And I have to be honest with you. I didn't entirely understand your focus on technology. Now, I mean, the purpose of the essay is to talk about longer working hours, okay? And that it results in more economically successful countries. But what you did is you said that countries with access to technology reduces working hours. So I actually had to read this paragraph a couple of times to understand what you were trying to say, and I did get to it. What it sounds to me is that you're saying, you know, it's technology that helps countries be more successful economically, not how long people work. Okay? But you needed to state this more clearly. All right, and you needed to state that it's technology at the heart of this economic success and not longer working hours. And you could have said, so I think that the heart of this was correct, but you didn't do such a great job of saying that, like, look at this here, let me show you what I mean. Here you say long working hours are beneficial for the economic growth of nations. So that's what we expect to read about in this paragraph. Okay, this is what I was expecting to read, and this is why I was really rather confused, because this is your topic sentence. It's kind of like your introduction to the paragraph. Okay, and that's not what this paragraph was about at all. In fact, it was about the exact opposite. So what you really needed to say here was that on the one hand, there is ample evidence that it is technology that makes countries more economically successful rather than long working hours. Okay? So then the rest of this would have made sense. Firstly, the countries that have more access to technology like production machines reduce the working hours of employees and save costs. Okay, it can be done by machines instead of manually. You needed an adverb here. Okay, and then this saves employers time and wages, which is cost effective. Okay, and then this also seemed a little confusing to me. So, secondly, countries with more technology, all right, again, have more access to scientific research that could innovate. Yeah, see, that doesn't work. Computers and smartphones, thus increasing performance in communication globally. And then again, link it back to being more economically successful. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I felt like you kind of just went down this rabbit hole of ideas, but you needed to be able to link it back to longer working time and economic success, okay? And then this was fine. That was good. But then look at this here. For this reason, excellent communication devices are crucial for trade communication. And then, like I said, this was good. But again, you needed to say rather than longer working hours. All right. Basically, you're refuting this argument here, and you're saying no, that's not at the heart of this. Technology is. Okay. So let's take a look at your next paragraph. On the other hand, although there is evidence that long working hours of machines are beneficial for the economy, the negative impact of people's health and well-being cannot be overstated. This is mainly because people who are working long hours a day are more vulnerable to illness such as stress, depression, and fatigue, which can negatively influence their performance at work. For example, an extensive study by Oxford University showed that, showed that 70% of the British employees who work for the UK News have work-related issues like burnout and need sick leave, which is regarded as a cost and might hold back the economic success. Therefore, long average working time is associated with diminished output and productivity. Okay, some nice vocabulary here. This is good. All right, so a couple of suggestions here. First of all, I wasn't really crazy about this first sentence because we were never discussing long working hours of machines. okay? This is a link that you use to link the previous paragraph with this paragraph, and you do that by restating something you said here. But this was never what you talked about. Did you talk about the role of machines in productivity? Yeah, you did, but not in this way. So I would have rephrased this sentence for sure. Then the other thing that I think in terms of structure, I think what you should have done, and it would have been more logical organization here, is if you had started with this as your first body paragraph. Okay, so why? Because you basically said in this essay that I disagree with this. Okay, that no, longer working hours is not successful. So I would have started off with this, which basically, refutes this argument. And then you could have had this and said, on the other hand, what does help develop a country economically is its access to technology. And then you could have gone into all of this. Okay, so I think that's how you should have organized it. First starting with this, then with this. Okay, so let's look at your conclusion. In conclusion, long working hours can have both advantages and disadvantages to a nation's economy. However, from the arguments and examples given, I firmly believe that overtime work could have a negative influence on people, but with the growth of technology, it would be more likely to have a positive impact on economic progress in the long term. All right, that's really nice. And look at this. The way you organize this last sentence is exactly how your essay should have gone. So, overtime has a negative influence, but growth of technology. So that's exactly what I was saying. You can even see that from a logic standpoint, from like a logical perspective, it makes more sense to start with this and then talk about this. Okay? So, now, the other thing that I want to do before I go on to your task 1 is I want to look at your introduction again. All right, so let's take a look at this. You said that long labor hours could have a negative effect on the economy. You said that technology could have more benefits in the long term. And then you said, I agree with the statement. Now, I told you before, get rid of this, I agree with the statement. And I absolutely 100% believe that now, because it's like, well, with which statement? Because it could be interpreted that you agree with this statement, which you absolutely don't. All right, so I also don't think that this was properly stated. Having read your entire essay now, I can say that, let's say, long labor hours could have some negative effects on the economy, and a better choice is to invest in technology in order to develop a nation's economy. Okay, so something like that would have been a better idea here. All right, so a lot of great things happening in your essay. All right, I've been focusing on some of the weaknesses because I think you need to know what they are so that you can help overcome them, because I see a lot of great elements in your essay. You've got a lot of wonderful grammar, a lot of great, really natural vocabulary. So you've got, as I like to say, the proper bones, the proper skeleton here. You've got the proper material to work with in order to have a really, really super IELTS essay with lovely vocabulary, again, really natural, high level, so a lot of really great things happening, and that's a wonderful place to be. What we have to work on, though, is some of these other areas, like related to coherence and cohesion, related to task achievement. All right, so we're just going to try to kind of fine-tune some of this. Now let's take a look at your task 1. All right, so let's look at this. By the way, if you could actually include the image in the file with your answer, that would be really helpful so that I can refer to it during this correction. Okay, so just keep that in mind for future task 1s. The given bar chart illustrates the marketing of brown and black leather shoes in 9 different countries in Europe. Okay, and you mentioned them, good. In the year 2018, units are measured in thousands of shoes. Good. All right, I don't know why you decided to use the word marketing. Okay, it's not entirely the marketing, it's actually the selling itself. Well, the marketing could, mean the promotion and so forth. So you could have just simplified this a little and said the given bar chart illustrates the sales of brown and black leather shoes, and then you're fine. First, looking more closely at the sales of the brown leather shoes, S, it can be observed, no comma, that the highest amount of sales was in Poland, fine, while sales in Belgium were not even a quarter of that amount, with approximately 10,000. The selling in the countries France, the UK, Ireland, and the Netherlands, well, the sales, not the selling, were between 50 to 100,000 shoes, which accounted, Which accounted approximately, that's a little strange. Let's see. The sales in the countries France, the UK, Ireland, and the Netherlands were between 50 to 100,000 shoes. Let's see. You could have just said specifically 75, 100, and 80,000 respectively. But then that doesn't make sense either. Look, because you've got 4 countries here, but you only have 3 figures. So that's a little strange. I don't know what happened there. Okay. Regarding the black shoe, Hungary, Italy, and Belgium were the most popular countries to wear this type of shoes were accounted for. All right, that's a little unnatural. So let's try that again. Hungary, Italy, and Belgium were the countries with the highest sales of this type of shoe. Okay? Accounting for around 140,000, 125,000, just over 100,000 respectively. France had the lowest number of sales, which was around 25,000. Okay, so you didn't mention anything about any of those middle countries. Did you have to get into it in detail? No, not really. But we're missing for sure a lot of information. So all you needed to do was just say the remaining countries and then name them, okay? Or not, because you've already told us what those countries are, so we can figure that out. Just say that the remaining countries were between 40,000 and 80,000 sales. All right, but just give that figure. So, okay. Overall, the brown leather shoe was the most worn type of footwear compared to the black one. Compared to black is better. However, it also had, past tense because it's 2018, the lowest sale of the 2 types in Belgium. Both types of shoe were most prevalent in Hungary and the least in France. Okay. Let's see. Your word count is fine. I can tell it's fine, but let me just double check. Yep, 197 words. Now, just a couple of extra details that I want to talk about before we finish here. I wanted you here to mention that Belgium was the lowest figure, okay? Because you need to make it clear to your reader why you're referring to Belgium here, okay? Because if you don't have the chart in front of you, then it's not clear why you've selected to talk about Belgium. So this was fine. You said the highest amount of sales, while the sales in Belgium, which had the lowest figure, were not even a quarter of that amount. Okay, so something like that, just, putting in the appropriate signposts here as to why you're selecting some of this information. Now, another piece of information that I think is really important, but you didn't include, is regarding Hungary. It's the highest figure in the entire chart, okay, but you didn't mention it. You just lumped together the 3 countries, okay, but I think it is important because, in fact, this figure for Hungary is even higher than that figure for Poland, unless I'm wrong. Like I said, I don't have the chart in front of me, but I've seen it enough times to remember that black shoes is actually the highest figure in the entire chart. So that's the kind of information you want to mention, okay? All right, so nice job. You did a lot of things that I liked, but there are also some things, again, we need to work through in order to get you to where you need to be. Okay, so go ahead and correct these, and let's see another set of essays from you. If you have any other questions, just please go ahead and feel free to include them in your email. All right, so good luck to you.